That's a good high score. Good morning and welcome to Milwaukee Early Learning Center. We opened our doors in 2003. Our founders, Dennis and Khalid Miller, had the vision that all children deserve the best early education experience, regardless of their zip code, family dynamics, etc. In this space, you will see that we function as a full early education model. We provide early childhood education and early elementary education. Our program starts for children 6 weeks, and they can stay with us through 3rd grade. In 2015, we embarked on a capital campaign called Great by 8. Hence, we really ensure and provide the space for our children to be great by the age of 8. We exist so that children in our immediate neighborhood and in our nearby communities can start their lives off on a level playing field. It is our hope that all children receive equitable learning experiences that support their optimal growth and ultimately become productive citizens. Milwaukee continues to grow, and we are embarking on a new journey, and we'll add a 2nd location inside the Thrive on King building on Martin Luther King Drive. So stay tuned for more to come on that experience as well. And without further ado, I'd like to welcome our wonderful governor, Governor Tony Evers.
Good morning. See if I can move these around a little bit. Anyway, it's great to be here, and thanks for everybody for joining us today. I also want to thank Tamara Johnson and the folks here at Milwaukee Early Learning Center for having us, but also for all the great work they do for the kids in the Milwaukee area. I also just want to recognize and thank the many local leaders and elected officials who are with us today, including Mayor Johnson, County Executive Crowley, as well as Senator Taylor and Representative Bowen, who are welcoming us to their district, and the rest of the Milwaukee legislative delegation for joining us. Despite the challenges of the last few years, Wisconsin has shown exactly how strong and resilient we are as a state and as a people. With an unprecedented revenue surplus and near historic low unemployment numbers, Wisconsinites are getting back to work, small businesses are opening their doors and hiring workers, and we're expanding job training and removing barriers to work for many. That said, Wisconsinites have been through a lot, and I know that people are still worried about rising costs and about filling up their gas tank and taking care of their families. Earlier this year, when we first learned of the state's 3.8% revenue surplus, Wisconsin Republicans refused to act on my plan and denied working families the support they needed at the time when they frankly needed it the most. Well, folks, that was months ago now. In the coming days, the Department of Revenue is anticipated to release new projections that far exceed even those announced at the beginning of this year, which will show our state is expected to end the fiscal year with more than $5 billion in our state coffers. This obviously tells us several things. One is our state is in a strong fiscal position, and there is no reason for these dollars that they should sit in state coffers when families could use the immediate relief now as well as long-term support into the future. That's why today I'm glad to be here in Milwaukee to announce a new plan to use our state's revenue surplus that builds upon the plan I announced earlier this year by providing over $600 million a year in tax relief for families, seniors, caregivers, and veterans across our state, reducing barriers to entering the workforce, and providing immediate relief to working families facing rising costs. Through the tax cuts I've signed during my time in office, I'm proud that 86% of Wisconsin taxpayers will see an income tax of 15% or more, delivering on my promise to provide a 10% income tax cut to middle-class families. The plan I'm announcing today builds on this important work, cutting taxes to working families by 10%. With this tax cut I'm providing today, nearly 2 million individual filers will see an additional tax cut, with the average person saving $221 a year, and a median family will see over $375 annually. That's money coming back to households to help defray the costs of their family needs today and into the future. While we're at it, we're also going to cut taxes for low-income seniors and individuals with disabilities on fixed incomes by increasing the income limit for the homestead credit, which hasn't been adjusted for inflation since 2011. We're going to provide support to our nation's heroes by expanding eligibility for the veterans and surviving spouses property tax to help more veterans and their families, helping nearly 8,000 taxpayers. We're also going to address the rising costs for families by repealing the state's minimum markup law. Right now, gas is required to be marked up, costing Wisconsin drivers an additional 18 to nearly 30 cents a gallon. And we're going to cap the copay for insulin at $35, period. No one should ever have to choose between affording bills or groceries and picking up their medications, but we know so many insulin users, that's a reality for them. Folks, it's not right, nor is it fair. There's no reason that we can't get this done. At least 21 states, including our neighbors in Illinois and Minnesota, have passed the legislation to implement an insulin copay cap, and we can use our surplus to do that right here in the great state of Wisconsin. Finally, we're going to provide some support to folks who take care of our most vulnerable. Finding and providing high-quality care for kids and loved ones can not only be a major expense for families, but it can be a real barrier to reentering or entering the workforce. So we're going to create a caregiver tax credit, with most family caregivers receiving up to $500 to help with increased costs and expenses while caring for a loved one. And we're going to expand the new child and dependent care credit from 50% to 100% of the federal credit. That translates to $30 million in tax relief for 107,000 Wisconsinites who claim the credit, or about $274 each. Under my plan, most eligible parents will receive up to $600 or even $1,200 to help with expenses depending on how many kids and dependents they're caring for. Wisconsinites have been through a lot. Like I said, there is no reason that these dollars should sit in Madison when we can be putting them to work for the people of our state. We can provide $600 million in tax relief to working Wisconsinites across our state, and we can make sure that we're making smart investments while still making sure that we have the resources to tackle pressing issues. That means that while we're providing immediate and long-term relief for folks and families, my plan will also leave our prior anticipated excess balance for the biennium of $3.8 billion completely untouched. That ensures we will get help to folks who need it today and the days ahead, while still having plenty of resources readily available to invest in education, good roads, and other pressing needs in the next biennial budget. I hear leaders on the other side of the aisle say that they want to give taxpayers' money back to taxpayers, but I've yet to see it. Time and time again, I laid out plans to do just that, including some of these proposals I'm talking about today, and they've downright refused. So let's put our money where our mouth is. Let's show up for the people of our state. Let's get this money back to Wisconsinites who can really use it. Now, it's my pleasure to hand things back to Tamara Johnson for a little bit more about what this child care tax credit will mean for families. Thank you very much.
As Governor Evers spoke, the meaningful effects of the tax credit, and what I've heard from families is it's been really, really helpful in receiving the monthly payments because they've been right on time in real life cash flow issues. As we all know, we've all had some unexpected expenses in life, and as families continue to move through these uncertain times, what I've heard from the families that we serve is that it really supports their family and helps for things such as utilities and just the needs in life. Another comment that I've heard from families is that the unexpected expenses that they've had always would set them back in life. So in addition to families being able to survive, they're now able to thrive. What working families need in our community, in addition to the tax credit, affordable and adequate housing is definitely a must for our families. And consistency will come along with those that affordable housing. Jobs that provide a livable wage. And again, consistency, those jobs being consistent for our families. Affordable, safe, and quality learning experiences regardless of a child's age. We primarily focus on early education, but families need to know that their child is in a safe place. No parent should ever go to work wondering if their child will be safe. And last but not least, families need access to transportation. This helps with employment, and by all means, our families definitely need access to all of the above, including transportation, to be able to get to work. And without further ado, I'm going to hand it over to Secretary Barker.
Well, good morning, and thank you for inviting us here. Thank you, Governor, and for all the elected officials that are here. Today is an important day, and it's a great day for Wisconsin. You know, as I travel around the state and talk to Chamber of Commerce's, economic development organizations, labor groups, I say I have only good news to share about the state of the economy and our financial position here in Wisconsin. When I came back to the legislature in 2008, we had deficits as far as the eye could see. Legislators even took furlough days. Now we have surpluses as far as the eye can see. And as a matter of fact, we're in the best fiscal shape that we've been in over a half century. And it's a tremendous place to be. And of course, we welcome and appreciate the governor wanting to share this with hardworking middle-class people and those people struggling to get into the middle class. His tax credit that he has been promoting since he actually ran for office, this 10% credit to go to the heart of the middle class, has never been more important, because obviously inflation has eaten into people's paychecks. It's made it more difficult, especially for those people in the lower to middle class avenue. So they desperately need this revenue, and this would hardly touch our surplus. It would be less than 15% of the surplus that we now are sitting on. We will be releasing numbers in the next day that will show that our surplus, as we sit here today, is well over $4 billion. And our economists project that at the end of the next fiscal year, as the governor indicated, it'll be well over $5 billion. So we are in the strongest position we can be in, and therefore it's just only right and important, in fact, to help the economy, to give this kind of help. As I travel the state, the other issue I hear about more than anything else, and I'll bet you here at this daycare center is no exception, and that's the issue of workforce. And this plan the governor is putting forward would help enormously on workforce issues, because obviously with this plan to help with child care and caregiving, that makes it much easier for people to go back to work. What our economists have found is that the people who have had the toughest time getting back in the workforce have been families that have infants in particular, where child care is so expensive. So this would make such a difference. Also, his plan in regard to making an effort to suspend the minimum markup could amount to about 30 cents at the pump. That's another avenue that would make it much easier for people to commute to work. And so many of the other provisions, even the income tax cut, would make it easier as well for people. So this is a plan that is something that I hope and trust the legislature, who have always talked about tax cuts, should embrace. If they truly care about the middle class, this goes to the heart of the middle class. And you know, when the governor ran, he talked about a 10% income tax cut. He's already overachieved, because we're at 15%. You add this to the mix, and Wisconsin will be in a tremendous place So thank you, Governor. Thank you for inviting us here today. And with that, let me turn it over to the new mayor of Milwaukee, Cavalier Johnson. Thank you for being with us.
Well, thank you very much, Secretary Barca. I am here because I want to highlight Governor Tony Evers' his call for a tax cut for working families. Hard-working people in Milwaukee and across the state are facing a squeeze. You can see it in the grocery store. Prices have climbed and paychecks just simply have not kept pace with the rises that we're seeing. Governor Tony Evers has been a champion for people who are trying to make ends meet. Again, not just here in Milwaukee, but throughout the entire state of Wisconsin. And steps like this one, a tax cut, can certainly help to make a difference. Now, I don't know what it's like to be the chief executive of a government that has major budget surpluses. I don't know what that's like. I hope to experience that one day, but we're not there right now. But I do admire, though, Governor Tony Evers, his approach to the situation. He's focused on the residents of Wisconsin who are the most deserving. If you work hard, if you follow the rules, you ought to be able to pay your bills. Think about the parents and the staff, quite frankly, here at Milwaukee Early Child Care Center. They're following the rules. They're doing right by themselves, by their families, by their community. They ought to be able to pay their bills comfortably and be able to have some money left over for a rainy day or perhaps even to take their kids on a vacation. That's not asking too much. But for many hardworking people, that just simply isn't the case. Hardworking people need to be treated fairly by their employers and by the government. So I want to thank you, Governor Tony Evers, for respecting Wisconsin's hardworking families. Again, not just here in the city of Milwaukee, but throughout our entire state. Thank you, Governor. And with that, it's my honor, my privilege to pass the mic over to Milwaukee County Executive David Crowley.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Johnson. Can we give a round of applause to the staff here at Milwaukee Early Childhood Center? It's good to see y'all. And continue going for Governor Evers. As the mayor said, I'm County Executive David Crowley. And I want to say it's a great day to be supporting a proposal that's literally going to help families that are doing their best to try to make ends meet, to try to stay afloat in an extremely tightening economy as well as the labor market. When you think about providing relief for working families is the right thing to do for Wisconsin, and it couldn't come at a better time as the economy continues to challenge families each day, and households are doing what they can, and they are being forced to literally make their dollar stretch further and further every day. Now, one thing I would say in the last 2 years that has really shown us is that people are in much more need for help caring for their children and dependent family members, especially as we see prices rising, the labor markets are changing, and as we continue to navigate an ever-changing public health landscape. And so when I look at the governor's proposal to address these directly, he's looking to send tax credits for individuals that are taking care of their children or taking care of individuals who are older adults, or when you think about differently able-bodied people, right? But in addition to cutting taxes across the board for working families, which is much needed, it's a proposal that's going to help households so they can keep more money in their pocketbooks at the end of the day. And at the end of the month, they'll be able to pay their bills, buy their groceries, save up for a rainy day, and keep a household over their head. And I can say as a father, I've supported all types of proposals just like this one to help working families. As a member of the Assembly, I supported the governor's first budget, which proposed a middle-class tax cut, much like the one that is being proposed today. I also support a standalone legislation in the Assembly to provide tax credits for working families. And earlier this year, I supported the governor's call for a January special session to pass child care and caregiver tax credits. Now, as county executive in partnership with the county board, we have led the county on a mission to achieve both race and health equity. And today's proposal help aid us in that mission by creating a fair economy and that creates prosperity for everyone. And so too many people today have to choose between earning a paycheck and caring for a child or a loved one. And it's a situation that households all across Milwaukee County, but as well as the employers who are looking to employ individuals from a strong and reliable workforce. Now, we know it's a choice that particularly women and people of color disproportionately have to make this decision when you think about this community. And when you look at the result, this feeds into inequities. This feeds into unequal health outcomes. Healthy residents, a strong economy, and a bright future for our children are goals we all should strive for, no matter what side of the aisle you are on. Now, I'm calling on our leaders in Madison to work together and pass this proposal for the good of households across the entire state of Wisconsin. And I want to say thank you again, Governor Evers, for putting forth this proposal to not only advance equity, but to advance health and then to advance a strong economy and economic future for our region. We truly appreciate it. And with that, I want to bring up Governor Evers, because that's who you all came to hear. And so I want to allow him to come back to the podium.
Well, thanks everybody for being here, and thank you, child care workers. Thank you so much. Thanks for your good work. We can do this because our economy is strong, and people have suffered, and we're still fighting issues around inflation. And so I'm hopeful the legislature will see the wisdom in this and take this up as soon as possible, and we'll be glad to answer any questions you might have.
Governor, do you believe that you will get the support in the legislature to make this actually happen?
Well, this is a really important, yes. I can't imagine why not. I can't imagine why not. Having $5 billion sitting around Madison when we can actually be spending it to lower taxes for people and targeted too, around the issue of child care, around the issue of caregiving, with veterans, the issue with making sure that people have the insulin that they need. All these things are self-evident, so we're looking forward to a positive response, and let's get this done.
Are you willing to give Republicans anything they want?
Well, that's a great question, because I don't know what they want. They haven't talked about it. We didn't get a response last time around, and if they've got some ideas, put them on the table. We can do that. People of Wisconsin should expect that, frankly.
Governor, Tim Michaels is in Kenosha today, 2 years after the Jacob Lake shooting. He's in Kenosha saying that you didn't provide support during the unrest fast enough. Is that a fair statement?
No, it's a lie. That's the bottom line. It's a lie. I did everything I was asked to do by the leaders in Kenosha. Everything in a timely fashion. So if he wants to run his campaign on lies, that's not a way to get elected. That's a stupid thing.
Governor, that you talked about all the money that, what are we at, $4 billion?
We'll
What
be
is
over
the
$4
plan?
billion at the end of this fiscal year that ended June 30th.
Substantial amount of money for a surplus. What is the plan to do with that money?
That's what we're talking about today. To put it to, there will be still $3.6 billion left in the fund, in our balance, and we plan to use that on things that the people of Wisconsin have elected me on and elected a lot of these folks standing me on. Education, making sure that we have good health care in the state of Wisconsin, fixing the damn roads, bringing broadband to people. All those things are doable.
One more question here.
A while back, you announced the challenge of the 1849 law that only protects the life of a mother for abortions. In court, GOP leaders who are challenging or trying to defend that law say that the lawsuit should be dismissed because it's filed against the wrong people. Do you agree with that, or do you disagree with that?
Well, I haven't seen what their motion is, frankly, but we'll continue to advocate for this regardless of what happens in that court. This is too much of an important issue for the women in the state of Wisconsin, and so whatever happens in Dane County Circuit Court, we anticipate winning at the end of the day, but I'm not able to respond directly to something I haven't read. But to say it's a very, very high priority for our administration, and frankly, the people of Wisconsin. We will do everything in our power to make sure that 1849 law is not hampering and making it more difficult for women to exercise their rights.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.